Hi students, and welcome to the second part of polynomials. In the previous lecture we introduced you to the world of polynomials. What are some of the features that differentiate them from algebraic expressions? Also we learned what are monomials, binomials and trinomials and what is the degree of any polynomial. Further we classified polynomials on the basis of their degree, and also we learned how to write any polynomial in its standard form. In this lecture we are going to study how to calculate the value of polynomial at any given point. Also we are going to see what is a root of a polynomial or what is a zero of a polynomial. So let's quickly begin this lecture. On the basis of last lecture, we now have an idea about what polynomials are and how are they different from the algebraic expressions. But we also know that polynomials comprise of variables and variables do not have a fixed value. But why are we running after something which does not have a fixed value? In the number systems we have studied about numbers and we know they have a fixed value. But what about polynomials? Do they have a fixed value? Or even if they have a value, then how to find out the value of such a polynomial? So in this lecture we are going to explore some facts that will help us to answer such questions. So to understand how to find the value of a polynomial, let us consider a polynomial, say p of x, which is equal to x cube minus 3x square plus 4x plus 7. So this is a polynomial in one variable. This is of course a cubic polynomial because its degree is 3. And let us say that we represent this polynomial by p of x. Now the most important thing to be noted is that a polynomial has a value, but it has a value at a fixed point. So if we insert different values of x in this polynomial, we get different values of p of x. So let us say that we have a polynomial calculator, which is p of x equal to x cube minus 3x square plus 4x plus 7, the same polynomial. This is a sort of input device in which we can put different values of x and it generates different values of p of x. So let us say that one such value is x equal to 1. So if the input is x equal to 1, then the output would be p of x equal to 9. So this calculator gives the value p of x equal to 9 when the input was 1. But now how do we get this value 9? Why does this calculator gives an output of 9? Why not 10? Why not 11? So let's try to check this out. We have the polynomial px equal to x cube minus 3x square plus 4x plus 7. Now at x equal to 1, that is if the input to this polynomial is x equal to 1, then what we get is p of 1 equal to 1 cube minus 3 times 1 square plus 4 into 1 plus 7. Simply we replace x by 1. So if we replace x by 1 in this expression, what we get is this. Now this further simplifies to 1 minus 3 plus 4 plus 7, and when we add all these numbers, what we get is 9. Thus we can say that when the input is x equal to 1, then the final output is equal to 9. So the value of polynomial p of x is equal to 9 at the point x equal to 1. So we can say that the polynomial has a fixed value equal to 9 at a fixed point. Let's take the second input as x equal to minus 2. So when we have the input x equal to minus 2, then what we do is we simply replace x by minus 2 in this expression. So what we get here is p of minus 2 is equal to, we replace x by minus 2, and so what we get is minus 2 whole cube minus 3 into minus 2 whole square plus 4 into minus 2 plus 7. Now the whole cube of minus 2 is minus 8. Similarly the square of minus 2 is 4 and 4 into 3 is equal to 12. Similarly this would give minus 8 and this remains the same. When we add them, what we get is minus 21. So what we can say is when the input is equal to minus 2, then the polynomial px gives the value equal to minus 21. So when the input is minus 2, we get the output as minus 21. We can have different inputs like x equal to 0, x equal to minus 23, x equal to minus 5, x equal to 100 and so on. There are infinite real numbers and we can have infinitely many such values of px. So In general, if we put x equal to alpha, that is at the point x equal to alpha, the corresponding value of the polynomial is p of alpha, and this p of alpha is nothing but equal to alpha cube minus 3 times alpha square plus 4 times alpha plus 7. Simply what we do is we replace x by alpha in this expression, and the final value which we get is actually the value of the polynomial. So what we can say is that yeah, definitely polynomial has a value, but it has a value at a given point. So we have to choose the x to get the value of the polynomial at the same point. So what we can say here is p of alpha is called the value of polynomial px at x equal to alpha. Thus, if the input is alpha, we get the output as p of alpha. Simply replace x by alpha. The next is zeros of a polynomial. Now, what are zeros of a polynomial? Let's try to understand this. Again, if we consider a polynomial calculator. Now, this calculator is something which gives the value of the polynomial at different values of input. Now let us say that the polynomial in this case becomes q of x equal to x square minus 7x plus 12. Now here this is a quadratic polynomial. Why? Simply because the degree is 2. Now let us consider an input value of 3. So when x is equal to 3, then what do we get the value of q of x? It comes out to be equal to 0. So when x is equal to 3, the value of q of x or the value of the polynomial comes out to be equal to 0. Now again let's consider an input 4, that is x equal to 4. Now let's check out what we get the value of q of x. Again it comes out to be equal to 0. So when the input is equal to 3, we get the value of polynomial as equal to 0. Also when the input becomes equal to 4, then the output is again 0. Now let's try to check out why do we get 0. The q of 3 is equal to, we simply replace x by 3 in this expression, and what we get is q of 3 equal to 3 square minus 7 into 3 plus 12. This becomes equal to 9, this becomes minus 21, and this becomes 12. And when we add them, what we get is equal to 0. So q of 3 is equal to 0. Similarly, let's try to find the value of q of 4. This is equal to 4 square minus 7 into 4 plus 12. Simply replace x by 4 in this expression, and what we get is 16 minus 28 plus 12, and which is equal to 0. Thus what we observe here is q of 3 is equal to q of 4, and which is equal to 0. And so 3 and 4 are called the zeros of q of x. The inputs 3 and 4 in this particular case yields the value of q of x as equal to 0, and so 3 and 4 are called the zeros of q of x. So let's look at the proper definition of this. A real number alpha is a root or zero of a polynomial f of x equal to an x to the power of n plus an minus 1 x to the power of n minus 1 plus an minus 2 x to the power of n minus 2, and so on up to a1x plus a0. If an into alpha to the power of n plus an minus 1 into alpha to the power of n minus 1 plus an minus 2 into alpha to the power of n minus 2, and so on up to a1 alpha plus a0 is equal to 0. So if we have a polynomial expression as this, and if alpha is a root or zero of a polynomial, then if we simply replace x by alpha in this expression and the value of the polynomial comes out to be equal to 0, then such a real number alpha is known as the root or the zero of a polynomial. Zero of a polynomial is also called as the root of the polynomial. In other words, we can say that the values of x which makes the value of polynomial equal to 0 are called as the roots or zeros of the polynomial. So such values of x which makes the value of the polynomial equal to 0 are known as the roots or zeros of the polynomial. In very simple words, we can say that the values of x which make the final output equal to 0 are known as the roots or zeros of the polynomial. For example, let us consider this polynomial fx equal to x cube minus 6x square plus 11x minus 6. So this is a cubic polynomial. Why? Because its degree is 3. Now, let us consider the value of this polynomial at x equal to 2. So if the input is x equal to 2, let's try to check out the value of fx, or let's try to see what the output is. F of 2 is equal to 2 cube minus 6 into 2 square plus 11 into 2 minus 6. Simply replace x by 2. Therefore f of 2 would be equal to, this gives 8, this gives minus 24, this gives 22, and this gives minus 6. So when we add them all, what we get is equal to 0. So f of 2 is equal to 0. And so what we can say is x equal to 2 is a root of fx. So we have seen that when we substitute x by 2, then fx becomes equal to 0. So f of 2 is equal to 0, and thus x equal to 2 is a root of f of x. Now, let us check out the value of fx at x equal to 3. For that, again what we do is, we replace x by 3, and what we get is f of 3 equal to 3 cube minus 6 into 3 square plus 11 into 3 minus 6. Now 3 cube gives 27, this gives 54, this gives 33, and this remains the same. When we add them all, what we get is f of 3 equal to 0. So what we can say here is, when the input is x equal to 3, then the final output becomes equal to 0. And so x equal to 3 is a root of f of x. So x equal to 3 is a value of x, which makes the polynomial fx equal to 0. Let's take one more case. Let us find the value of fx at the point x equal to minus 1. So the input here is x equal to minus 1. So let's check out the value of fx. F of minus 1 would be equal to minus 1 whole cube minus 6 into minus 1 whole square plus 11 into minus 1 minus 6. This gives the value as minus 1, this gives the value as minus 6, this gives minus 11, and this gives minus 6. When we add them all, what we get is f of minus 1 equal to minus 24. Thus we see that when the input is x equal to minus 1, the output is not equal to 0, but it is actually equal to minus 24. Thus we can say that x equal to minus 1 is not a root of f of x. So x equal to 2, x equal to 3 are the roots or the zeros of fx, but x equal to minus 1 is not a root of f of x. So for any real number alpha to be a root of fx, f of alpha should be equal to 0. And if it's not so, then alpha is not a root of f of x. Let's try to see one more example. What is the root of the polynomial p of x equal to x minus 5? So we have a polynomial p of x equal to x minus 5, and we have to find out the root of this polynomial. So what we do is, we put p of x equal to 0. This is because we have to find out the value of x, which makes p of x equal to 0. So what we do is, we simply equate p of x equal to 0, and p of x is nothing but equal to x minus 5. So x minus 5 is equal to 0. This equation gives the value of x equal to 5. Thus what we can say is, x equal to 5 is the root of this polynomial p of x. So what we can say in general is, to find the roots of px, equate it to 0, and the values of x that make it equal to 0 are the roots of p of x. So in order to find out the root of any polynomial, what we do is, we try to find out the values of x which make that polynomial equal to 0, and for that simply equate p of x, which is a polynomial, equal to 0. So when we equate it to 0, we get some values of x, and those values of x are the values that make p of x equal to 0, which are called as the roots or the zeros of the polynomial. Now what are zeros of a constant polynomial? So we have seen the zeros of a polynomial might be linear, quadratic, cubic, but what about the zeros of a constant polynomial? Let me remind you, constant polynomial is a polynomial which has a degree equal to 0. So the variable term is absent in a constant polynomial. So let's take an example. Let us say that p of x equal to 5 is a constant polynomial. Now we have to find the zeros of this constant polynomial. What we observe here is it has got no zeros because replacing x by any number in 5 into x to the power of 0 still gives us 5. So we can simply write this as 5 into x to the power of 0. So if we replace x by any number, this won't generate a 0, but instead we'll get a constant value of 5. So this polynomial p of x, which is a constant polynomial, has always a constant value which is equal to 5. So whatever value of x you insert into this polynomial, it won't make the value of p of x equal to 0, and hence what we can say is a non-zero constant polynomial has no zero. So any non-zero constant polynomial has no zero because no value of x would make the polynomial equal to 0. Let's try to go into more depth and find out the relation between the zeros or the roots and the coefficients of a quadratic polynomial. We know what is a quadratic polynomial. It is a polynomial whose degree is 2. That is, the highest exponent of the variable is 2. Let's try to understand the relation between the roots and the coefficients of a quadratic polynomial. Now let us say that p of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c is a quadratic polynomial where a is not equal to 0. So this is a quadratic polynomial where a is the coefficient of x square, b is the coefficient of x, and c is a constant term. So this is a quadratic polynomial. Now let us say that alpha and beta are the roots of this polynomial p of x. So this is a quadratic polynomial of degree 2. Therefore there would be only 2 roots of this expression. Let us say that now alpha and beta are the roots of p of x. Now x minus alpha and x minus beta are the factors of p of x. So if alpha and beta are the roots of p of x, then x minus alpha and x minus beta are the factors of p of x. So we can simply write this expression as equal to ax square plus bx plus c equal to k times x minus alpha into x minus beta, where k is a constant. So we know that x minus alpha and x minus beta are the factors of this quadratic polynomial. Therefore we can write this as k times x minus alpha into x minus beta. Now in the next step what we do is we multiply both these factors and get x square minus alpha plus beta times x plus alpha beta into k. Here alpha and beta are the roots of p of x. This further gives kx square minus k times alpha plus beta times x plus k times alpha beta equal to ax square plus bx plus c. So this is equal to this. Now what we do is, on comparing the coefficients of like powers of x on both sides, we get k equal to a minus k times alpha plus beta equal to b and k times alpha beta equal to c. So in the next step we compare the coefficients of like powers of x. That is, the coefficient of x square on this side is compared to the coefficient of x square on this side. Similarly, the coefficient of x on the LHS is compared to the coefficient of x on the RHS, and simply the coefficient of x to the power of 0 is compared on both sides. So when we compare the coefficients of x square, what we get is k equal to a. When we compare the coefficient of x, then what we get is minus k times alpha plus beta equal to b, and when we compare the coefficient of x to the power of 0, then what we get is k times alpha beta equal to c. Now putting the value of k as equal to a in this expression, what we get is minus a into alpha plus beta equal to b, and again if we put the value of k equal to a in this equation, what we get is a into alpha beta equal to c, since k is equal to a. From this what we get is alpha plus beta is equal to minus b by a, and alpha beta is equal to c by a. Thus we get alpha plus beta, which is sum of the roots, equal to minus b by a, and alpha beta, which is the product of the roots, equal to c by a. Now this is a very important result. So what we can say is sum of zeros or sum of roots is equal to minus of coefficient of x divided by coefficient of x square. Here the coefficient of x is b and the coefficient of x square is a. Also, the product of zeros is equal to the constant term divided by the coefficient of x squared. The constant term here is c and the coefficient of x squared is again a. Therefore, what we can say is alpha plus beta, which are the roots of this quadratic polynomial, is equal to minus of b by a, and alpha beta is equal to c by a. So what we can say is, if alpha and beta are the zeros of px equal to ax square plus bx plus c, then alpha plus beta is equal to minus b by a and alpha beta is equal to c by a. So the sum of the roots is equal to minus b by a. B is the coefficient of x and a is the coefficient of x square. Similarly, alpha beta, which is the product of roots, is equal to c by a. C is the constant term and a is again the coefficient of x squared. Quadratic polynomial whose zeros are alpha and beta is given by px equal to x square minus alpha plus beta times x plus alpha beta. Alpha plus beta is the sum of roots and alpha beta is the product of roots. Now if we know the two roots of a quadratic polynomial, then we can form the equation of the quadratic polynomial as px equal to x square minus alpha plus beta into x plus alpha beta. Simply add these two roots to get the sum of the roots and simply multiply these two roots to get the product of roots, and put the value of the sum and the product of roots in this expression to get the final equation of the quadratic polynomial.